What's up, guys? This is your dude, Sugi JRPG here, and today we are going to be talking about two different news stories regarding Final Fantasy IX, starting off with the Memoria Project. And those who are unfamiliar with it, this is basically a fan-made project by hobbyists, industry veterans, and people who are fans of Final Fantasy IX, who basically decided to recreate the game inside Unreal Engine 5. And I believe they released the first trailers roughly like 2 years ago or something, and a couple of like images on their ArtStation profile. And yesterday they released a 25-minute video basically showcasing the full demo, okay? However, this demo is not downloadable. You cannot actually play it. You're only able to see the full video, basically them showcasing the demo, and that is obviously due to copyright reasons. Square Enix would probably DMCA claim them and issue an official takedown, because that's kind of how the laws work regarding copyright things. But obviously it does look really, really good. It is definitely like a proof of a concept what Final Fantasy IX technically could look like if it was done on Unreal Engine 5, which is an engine that Square hasn't used that much, or this sort of a art style. It definitely has. I think it's a very truthful to the original style in a lot of ways, in terms of its character designs, and everything is obviously made to look a lot more modern, and it has a bit more of not a plush toy, but this sort of like a Japanese toy, Kingdom Hearts style of a mix, which I really, really enjoy, and I think this would be my art direction of choice if there were to be a Final Fantasy IX Remake. And this is something that I did talk about on my previous video, where we talked about my speculation on the actual remake of FF9, which we're going to be addressing in a second. But I do want to definitely say thank you to the Memoria Project to actually making this, because this kind of shows the actual potential of designs, how the games could look like. This is definitely an art direction that I would really dig on any type of a title, really, if they were to do World of Final Fantasy 2 or something else, in the Final Fantasy universe. It could be Final Fantasy 5 or 6, which also could utilize this type of an art style and this type of mechanic. Obviously, there's not exactly a combat here or anything. This is not something that they do. And then I'm not sure, are they going to be still working on this Memoria project, or are they going to be hired by Square? I don't know exactly the direction here, but it seems that they have done actually a lot of work here. You're able to talk to NPCs, and there's a lot of a couple of mini games even shown out on the demo. So this is very impressive in my opinion. So I really enjoy that. But now let's actually get into the second story of the day, which is, well, many different news outlets were basically reporting on this. And I'm going to be playing you on a video in a second from a podcast by Jeff Grubb, who was the person who broke down the PlayStation Showcase. He was the person that gave out the actual date for the PlayStation Showcase, and he was 100% right about it. So this is a person that actually seems to be, I don't know much about him. I kind of first learned about him, during the PlayStation Showcase, but it seems to be that he seems to have this, track record of being, on the know about the recent leaks and rumors. And he has definitely, said that, yeah, 9 is on the works, and so is Tactics Remaster. So let's play this clip here.
Stuff. Square Enix, most of the Square Enix games in there have been confirmed or even came out by now, except for Final Fantasy IX Remake and Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. I will say I heard very recently, once again, Final Fantasy IX Remake is real. That is real and happening. So,
Do you think if they do that, they adopt the 7 combat, the sort of mixed real time?
I wonder.
That game just feels a lot less fast. Whenever you watch it, it feels less like there's less characters with guns and stuff. There's less stuff that you could sort of see them working that direction.
I think that's probably the right move. I mean, that's because the remake series can sort of be the evolution of that kind of combat, and then.
So there you have it, the actual confirmation of a leak. Obviously, everything can be taken with a grain of salt, and projects actually do get cancelled. But I mean, there's a lot of these people. Obviously, when I did the previous video about theorizing the Final Fantasy IX remake, there were a lot of skeptics, and there still are, despite of the Nvidia leaks, which, you know, all those games in that list have been confirmed, as Jeff just said. I think there was 9 titles, and 7 of them have been already released, outside from Tactics and 9. Now, you know, and something we're going to be looking at, another story, which is not exactly like super remarkable, but this is from like a Reset Era forum, about posts made by a certain individual known as I'm a Hero 2, who claims to be some type of a industry head who, I don't know, like, that the remake is at least 2 years away from release, and he talked about other aspects about, like, it's not going to be on Nintendo Switch, and it's going to be a PS5 exclusive, and also there was like comments that it's going to be traditional, and also it is not going to be like action RPG. Now, this is very interesting. The argument, and if this that has to be taken with a grain of salt, you know, let's just say that he is right. It basically proves out my theory about, you know, what this game would be like, because I already said on the previous video that the remake of 9 is likely going to be a bit more, not a lower production, but something that is fundamentally not going to be as like a same level as 7 remake, in the sense that it's going to be like a not a lower production, but it's not going to be this like a massive like overhaul and like doing these open worlds and stuff like that. I think it's really going to be looking like the Memoria Project. It's going to have turn-based combat, maybe a bit faster, and, you know, it's going to be probably staying really faithful to the original game. And it's probably going to be done, as I then speculated, it probably might be co-produced with some other company that Square has worked in the past with. And that seems to be the most plausible thing here. Obviously, they could allocate a lot more resources to 9 like they did with 7. It is still considered by Sakaguchi Uematsu as the best Final Fantasy game that they ever made. And even Uematsu actually said recently that he has come out of retirement to basically work on a game, so even could say maybe Mistwalker is actually working on Final Fantasy 9. And so it's a very interesting to see, and there's also like a talking about like, is it going to be playing like an action game, and then they say traditional, and that would also support the idea that Uematsu is actually involved with this game. So I'm actually like getting more confirmation that this is going to be on the direction that I'm actually wanting it to be, which is turn-based, new graphics with voice acting, and maybe some tweaks to the story, like I talked about in a great length about those, like getting Amaranth Pit flushed out, and maybe some Garnet backstory, and, you know, obviously I would probably want some overhauls into the ability system. It's okay, but it's not the greatest. But I think there's going to be still people regarding, even after these, like, you know, revelations that I talked about in the previous video, like the Paolo YouTube video, and you should definitely check that video out, because I go into all of these details about the leaks and the animated series, which we haven't heard anything about, which also could support the theory that, yeah, they are maybe postponing the release of the animated series to coincide with the actual game, because we know already about the animated series for quite some time. It's fair to say that some of it has already been completed. If there's no game coming out, then they would have released already trailers about the animated series, right? This is logical, guys. Don't be fucking idiots. If they actually had footage of that actual animated series, they would have showed it at some point already this year or last year. And they haven't, because we know that they are probably going to be milking them together with each other. They want to release the series alongside with the game to basically drive sales, get more people involved and understand and love the world and etc., and do some plush toys and stuff like that. And, you know, it's going to be killer, because the designs of Final Fantasy IX are very likable. The people are going to be falling in love with Vivi and all the other characters, and there's going to be a lot of merch that you can build around it, you know, the animated series, and, you know, building with the figurines and toys, and, you know, it's a marketing strategy obviously here. And obviously right now, We have the release of 7, Rebirth. We're getting probably today or tomorrow some news regarding that. And obviously, we have 16 coming out later this month, which, by the way, we still haven't gotten the demo for that. But I'm not going to blab any longer. I've already made a lot of different cases, and in the previous video, I'm probably going to be doing a whole full-up article on Putachi.net, talking about like all the other aspects here about like what is the, all the evidence and sources, leading into the actual release. It's an eventuality. It's 100% eventuality. Square has remaked pretty much all of their games already. Like, they are remaking and remastering them all the time. They done it with 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the time. And there's no reason not to do it because 9 is exactly like very, very well regarded. The only reason it didn't sell as much because it released after PS2, which was obviously one of the main reasons why it didn't perform as well as 7 and 8. But as I already broke down on the last video, actually more people have bought 9 on Steam than they have bought 8. Even the 2 8 versions combined don't have as many sales as 9 has, which is already proven that 9 is more popular than 8, even though 8 sold more during its release than 9 did on PS1. But I digress. Subscribe, like, and obviously stay tuned for more RPG news, RPG content on the channel. I will be seeing you next time, and make sure you leave a comment down below. What do you think about this? When do you think it's going to be releasing? When are we going to be first getting the reveal, announcement, and all that type of stuff? I will be seeing you next time. Cheers.